Hello, I'm Risho Getri, and welcome to this series of Mindset Kabanga educator videos on grade 5 mathematics. Our world today is full of information, and much of this information is in numerical form. Numerical data is commonly found in the media, and anyone looking at the form of data represented in newspapers and magazines should be able to understand what it is they are looking at. This numerical data has to be organized and represented in a way that the readers can make sense of it and draw conclusions from its messages. Once the numbers have been organized, it can be represented in different ways. The increased importance of data handling in society has been reflected in the RNCS because these are mathematical life skills that every person should know. At primary school level, learners should be encouraged to understand the processes of data handling and be given an opportunity to experience the collection of raw data and then organize it. Data handling skills lay the foundation for further studies in statistics, both high school level and tertiary level. In this episode, we discuss how you can enhance your learners' data handling skills and help them to properly collect, present, and analyze primary data. Do remember that the selection of data topics must be related to the learner's own life experience and should be a clearly defined purpose for collecting data so that it becomes a meaningful activity. Learners should engage in the data handling cycle. Learners should be able to answer questions about their data and interpret their own findings from an organized representation. That is, draw conclusions and make predictions. My guests in studio today are Elizabeth Ladik and Louise Sharnick. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
Their experience include primary school teaching, high school teaching, and many years in teacher training institutions with the focus on intermediate and senior phase. Louise, why do you think data handling skills are important to know at primary schools?
Well, the information age in which we all live is not restricted to words and facts. The public receives via the media some number information as well. And these numbers are processed and represented as graphs or tables. And therefore, at primary level, we teach the children to organize numbers and represent them in tables and graphs, and this kind of knowledge they can cope with at that age.
Liz, what in your opinion should teachers do in order to make this topic meaningful?
The learners need to go through the entire data collecting cycle, or process, if we can call it a data process. That involves collecting the data, processing it, and then representing it graphically. Now, the important thing is that the data collection should be in response to a question. And an example would be, what is your birthday month? Or, what size shoe do you wear? And that information is then collected in the entire class.
You have taught all levels of learners. In terms of basic graph skills, what do you think gives learners the most trouble when drawing graphs?
There are two things really. When a learner has to draw a graph, here the learner only has a certain size or a certain amount of space to use. And in that space, the learner has to place a vertical axis and a horizontal axis and provide a scale for those axes. The second big problem is that the learners need to be taught to space correctly. If we take the example of the shoe size, and the learners have to draw a bar graph, then on the vertical axis, you would record the shoe sizes with equal spacing. on the vertical axis, you would record the number of learners who wear a particular shoe size. And there again, there would be a division in 2s or 4s, depending on the amount of space available, or even in 5s. Or even if there's a very large group, in 10s, which I don't think would be suitable in a classroom, probably 5s. And those units also have to be equally spaced.
Louise, let's spoke about collecting data. How important is it for the learners to collect their own data?
I think that they should go through that at least once, so that from start to finish they can go through the cycle where they can collect what's called the raw data. It's not in any organized form, and they can arrange it and then represent it in a table and then graphically. But thereafter, a teacher can always give them a set of raw data which is unorganized. It's not serious, but they should at least try it once.
Thank you very much for joining me here in studio.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's look at a classroom study. And don't forget to look out for these key points. The teacher obtains raw data from the class. The organization of the data takes form of a table first. Learners see that the vertical or horizontal axis is spaced equally. The teacher focuses on the bars and spacing between the bars. Notice the kinds of questions asked once the graph has been drawn.
The worksheet in front of you shows you the information about the birthdays of the learners in the grade 5 class. Raw data means the collection of information in no particular order. You're going to use this information to complete the tally table below. I will show you how to complete the tally table using the month of January. Each time I see January, I will cross it out and I will put a tally mark for it in this block. The fifth one has to go over this one. So how many birthdays fall in January? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then I write 7 here. And don't forget that the fifth tally mark cuts through the 4 other tally marks. You can start. Don't forget crossing out. Why are you not using this? Now continue. Now you have an idea what your completed tally table will look like. We will use this information to complete the bar graph. How many birthdays were in January?
7.
Now we'll put this up. There were 7. And how many birthdays were in February?
3.
In March?
4.
April.
1.
May.
6.
June.
5.
July.
7.
August.
3.
September.
0.
October.
2.
November.
1.
And December.
2.
So if we are putting information like this on the bar graph, then we call this a graph. What we have done today is called the data handling cycle. We started with the raw data, and we used that raw data to complete the tally table, and then we took the information from the tally table to complete the bar graph.
You have seen the skills required for the data cycle. Raw data was converted into a tally table and then represented by a bar graph. And I'm sure you noticed some of the kinds of errors that learners can make if the teacher does not make the learners aware of them beforehand. In conclusion, by improving your learners' data handling skills, you are developing their statistical numeracy as well as their thinking skills. That's a mouthful from me. Until next time, Roshoketri. Goodbye.